What's up, everybody? It's Narz, and we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Cyberpunk 2077 TTRPG tabletop role-playing game. This is in partnership with CMON and CD Projekt Red, so this is definitely a very passionate love project for sure. This was Kickstarted back in 2021, and yes, it's been 3 years since the inception, the culmination, the talking of this particular project, and I'm so excited I finally got my hands on it. As you can see, I got a couple of the packages here, a couple of the expansion packs. We have the Motorpool, the Gang Wards, the side gig, the family, and the outcast, as well as the original box that the Kickstarter comes with. It started with $110 as a pledge, and each expansion opened up depending on how many pledges committed to the Kickstarter. Obviously, the Panam one is a little bit of an exclusive one. You did have to pay a little extra for this. Kind of, DLC paywall if you can. So fans of Panam would have to, Panam Palmer, the amazing one, the amazing fabulous Panam, they would have to pay a little extra for this, but I did because I really wanted to get a really good sense of everything. Now, the couple of things before we get started. There's already a couple of videos that are out there if you guys want to learn about the good and the bad of the quality. I am not a tabletop role-playing game connoisseur. I am a Cyberpunk 2077 Mike Pondsmith fan. So for me, being able to obviously play this version of the game is amazing. As you can see, I'm a big fan of the Cyberpunk legacy, but again, this is going to be something where I am new to tabletop role-playing game, but I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk, big fan of CD Projekt Red, so I really wanted to do this unboxing just because I got my hands on it and I wanted to show you guys what it looks like. But again, if there's anything that I am not particularly aware of when it comes to tabletop role-playing games, don't sue me, don't burn me in the comments. Thank you very much. Awesome. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna start with obviously the biggest box of them all, which is this one, all right? And then we'll go into the different parts. Obviously, we'll go down the line for everything. The Gang Wars is a lot of the gangs, like the Mox gangs. The side gigs are mostly the fixers in the game, if you remember, in Cyberpunk 2077. Motorpool is a lot of the vehicles in the game for Cyberpunk 2077. And then family and the outcast, we get into a little bit of the Valentinos as well as some of the other families. All right, we're gonna put these all on the side, and then I'm gonna get my fancy mat and we're gonna get started. So this is the box. Obviously, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it looks amazing. It's very heavy. The entire box that came with it was about 6.7 kg. I don't know what that is in metrics for America because I'm ignorant. So if you guys know it, feel free to put that in the comments for sure. All right, so let's open this up. I cannot tell you how excited I was when I saw this back in 2021, and I'm like, I cannot wait to see this. 3 years later, here we are. But, nonetheless, it is finally here. Cyberpunk 2077's tabletop role-playing game, TTRPG. This is so exciting. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is so amazing. All right, there we go. There's a lot of air in there. Ooh, obviously, CMON's newsletter and stuff like that. But this is it. The board game exclusive edition. Now, a lot of the things that are in this box and as well as on the other expansion packs are not going to be available for retail. Some of this was exclusive only to the Kickstarter. So there's some things that are here may not be in the retail version of it. So just letting you guys know that a lot of this stuff may not be available. So this is the board game. Now this board game is thick with 2-3 C's. Honestly, look at that. That is pretty thick, and it's kind of an amalgamation of folding. So we'll definitely open this up completely after we've gone through everything. But so much, this is the actual board game, this is what you play, and all of these will add to the sides of it as expansion. So if you're wondering how does this play along, this will add onto the sides, kind of like Settlers of Catan, if you're very familiar with that, and other board games kind of be very, very familiar. Now, when we come into this, these are all the cards. I have to turn it out to look at myself. But obviously, if you're familiar with some of these cards, like Maelstrom, obviously, the Valentinos, obviously, the Voodoo Boys, these are iconic gangs that we see, Tiger Claw, I'm reading it upside down and I still know 6th Street. These are all the families that you play in the original game. There's going to be different, obviously, lineages and endings for this, but this is kind of what you're going to be playing with. These are your cards, and you get to pick which one you want. So you get to pick through 3 different classes. There's Solo, Techie, and Netrunner. And then depending what classes you pick, then you can be able to further go down the line of what that actually looks like. So this is the Netrunner activation. This really, I'm not really sure what this is. I have to read the rules for this, but I believe this is kind of like a guideline. I know in Red that there were like different skill trees and stuff like that. This might be the same thing, but again, this is kind of like specifically if you decide to do the Netrunner class, but this would be something that you have to have on the side for yourself. These are the tokens. Now, it's unfortunate that the tokens are not acrylic. Obviously, you can still use them where they're, but normally I would imagine that for this particular thing, they would have used acrylic tokens, but obviously, you know, tokens are tokens, right? Obviously, as you can see, these are kind of like, they're sturdy, you know, they're very sturdy, but if you think about like Monopoly or even like Settlers of Catan, I always say Settlers of Catan, it's one of my favorite board games. But just the hexagon, the way they feel, it kind of feels the same way. Is it poor quality? I don't think so. I think this is just, it's just simply taste and style. These are like the money and chips. Some of these are, so this is definitely resources. Right here you see these are resources. These are your homes also, so you'll get homes in the game as well. Different icons and stuff like that where you're located. But again, I'll probably have to read the rules to get exactly what all of these mean, but this is still pretty cool. This is what we've all been waiting for, at least what I've been waiting for. These are the figurines. So from what I understand, the figurines do not need to be built. They are already built, but you can paint them. Am I gonna paint them? I don't know. If we get this video to 3,000 views, maybe I will. These are the actual games, right? So these are all the storylines. So if I pull these up, they're kind of just all mixed in there. So here's the Night City tour. So this would be kind of the story you would take for this particular dialogue. And each of these are just kind of like their own. This one is Act 3. So probably when you've played the game enough, you'll do that one. As you can see, these are all like stories. And depending on how many people you can play with up to 4 people. You can also play this single player as well, which is kind of really cool that you can play this on your own. You don't actually need 4 other people. You can play on your own. But really depending on what kind of story you want to go down, you have many possibilities on how to play this game. Then you have, this is the tutorial. So if you've never played any TTRPG game, this is a really nice tutorial that you can play for it. It kind of like walks you through the process of how to play Cyberpunk and Mike Pondsmith's universe. But it's really awesome that they have like a storyline. If you've never played this game, you can actually play it. It's right here, it's available, and it comes with the game. Continuing on, we now have our packs. So these are cards you would add to the board game that are going to really change the dynamic of your particular game. So these are kind of really cool because it says vehicle, but it's not vehicle. These are your character cards, right? So we're gonna open these, we're gonna go through them because it's gonna be kind of nostalgic to see some of our favorite characters pop up again. This is like the Crusher, so it has like your weapons and stuff like that. So that's what you're gonna use for combat. These are kind of like activation cards here. And then you have your locations, which are kind of cool, and they give you like little opportunities depending on what locations you go. But let's crack this baby open. I'm gonna put this to the side. River Ward is right there. He was my love interest in Cyberpunk, so as well as Judy Alvarez. I love her. I love them both. I still haven't been able to pick which one I want to be. But we have River Ward as one of the characters. Obviously, this is Jackie. Poor Jackie. We love Jackie. Goro Takemura obviously is in there. It's so cool to be able to like not only have these characters in these games, but you get to play them as well. Johnny Silverhand. Can't go wrong with Johnny. Johnny. Judy Alvarez. We love a Judy. We do Vic. Who doesn't love Vic? If you don't love Vic, leave this video right now. I don't want you to hear anymore. Just leave. T-Bug. If you know, you know. Love you, T-Bug. And then we have some characters that are kind of like were not very prominent that are also in here. We have like Nyx. And then we have our Vs. We have our 2 Vs that are here. We have our female V and our male V. So depending on how you played the game, you can be incorporated that. This is just a drone. I honestly probably have killed these a couple times. I don't remember them. Maybe I burned them from my brain. But you also see we have some characters that I don't remember. I think this is like one of the Goro's underlings that probably died. Obviously, Atom Smasher. We have a love-hate relationship, but we have a now. If you did not watch Edge Runners, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but your sentiment would have changed by then. Then we have some other characters like Milt, Emmerich. People don't know Emmerich, but he was actually the bouncer for the Afterlife, so it's nice to see him there. And just like some other characters that are showing up here that you probably may have known. I think he was in the side mission as well. And then we just like have some other characters that just are popping up in this series that probably were side stories as well that you get to see. Crispin Wayland. I actually want to probably do some more research on some of these characters. So if you're like, oh my God, how did you not know this? Literally opening this and going through this. Sandra Dorset, if you know that character, I had a big bug with this particular quest. Like I could not finish it for the life of me, and then it completed itself thanks to Project Red. Then we have Flo, and then we have Misty. We love Misty. We love a good Misty, obviously. I don't know Chris Sawyer, but I think Sawyer rings a bell. If you don't know, you know. If you know, you know. Evelyn Parker, we love Evelyn Parker. I'm an Evelyn Parker stan. Nibbles, how do you not love Nibbles, the freaking cat? And Brandon, if you did not do the quest for Brandon, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Go back and play the game. Lizzie Wizzy, she was also in the new Phantom Liberty DLC that came out. So if you didn't get to see that part, it's an amazing scene in Phantom Liberty. But she is one of the only characters that you will see in Phantom Liberty in this particular tabletop game. And then obviously Bugbear. We have some other Benedict McAdams. Bess Issy. Obviously the twins, if you've played the game, you'll go against them, but they're not actually twins, they're actually one person, which is kind of cool. So seeing them in here and seeing how they are going to play in the game, it's kind of cool. And then we just have some other characters, Iris Tanner, you know. Then we have Jeremiah Grayson. Like these are just like really cool add-ons that they did. They really went above and beyond. And then you have Rachel, if you know Rachel. She's kind of a... And then you have the Dillerman. The Dillerman is one of the only ones in the set that is a vehicle. If you get the original one, it is the only vehicle you get in the original thing. I don't know why. I also think this is an exclusive one also that you only get through the Kickstarter. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not good at this, guys, if you haven't noticed. Okay, so that's it for the characters. We're gonna kind of mix this up because I'm gonna play this as soon as I'm done. Then we're gonna go into the figurines. Now, the cool thing about this is, again, like I said before, this was already created, so you don't have to actually go through the process of creating the figurines. Ooh, so as you can see, these are already made. I believe they're also resin. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but see, you can come right off. This is, oh God, it smells so good. You've ever like smelled like fresh new games? Just like, and it smells really, really good. That's what it smells like right now. But as you can see, like these are really well made, obviously. We got our 6th Street troops here. We have obviously our tiger claws, but look at the, I just love how really detailed it is. And then you have your special ones. So these are the character ones, right? These are your character miniatures. So let's see if I can find someone. Obviously here is your Johnny Silverhand. Mr. Silverhand is right here. But again, like you can paint them if you want. I don't know if I'm gonna paint them. To be honest, I'm not even good at painting in general. Evelyn Parker. I'm an Evelyn Parker stan. Then you have your V. So here are your 2 Vs, right? This is your these are your 2 Vs, your male V and your female V. And thankfully enough, they're both wearing samurai jackets. You can actually see they're both wearing their samurai jackets. So, and then who else do we see? Who else do we want to show? I do want to show a couple more, just because it kind of is really important. Here we go, Adam Smasher. So like you can see, they did a really good job. He's 100, like the majority of his body besides his head is cybernetic, and they really did a good job showcasing that kind of like cyberneticism, and just like really, really the detail on this is kind of like really, really cool. I'm even like looking at it like, gosh, man, it's like you want to take a magnifying glass to this and just like look at it. So it's like really, really pretty. And then you have Nibbles over here. Again, Nibbles was one of Adam Smasher and Nibbles and some of these other characters were pretty much released with the original once the Kickstarter got to a certain level. So the fact that we were able to get all these was because of contributions of all the pledges for the Kickstarter. So, all right, so this is the side gigs. And these are all the fixers. And again, like this is going to be in addition to the actual, the game itself. So all of these are just expansions to the game. So here we have the side gigs. These are all the special fixers, right? And then depending on what act you're in, you can involve these as well. And then these are the edge runner cards. And then you see you have Wakako right there. She looks so badass in her chair. You cannot tell her what to do. She is at a prime age, you know? You can't tell that woman anything. You tell her to stop smoking, she won't. Anyways, our fixers. These are our fixers. Wakako, Regina Jones, obviously. Dino Vinch. He's one of our favorites. Sebastian, obviously. Muammar, I love his accent. It's really good. Dakota Smith, obviously from the Badlands. Faraday, if you've played Edge Runners, Faraday is in Edge Runners. So if you're like, what is he doing here? He's also in some of the comic books as well, so if you haven't read some of the comic books, he's one of those prevailing characters that show up in probably like all of them. But yeah, definitely awesome. Then we have some really interesting cards here. These are your opportunity cards and then your edge runner cards. So obviously these are kind of cool. Spider Murphy, you know Spider Murphy. He's a very interesting character. If you don't know Spider Murphy, I'm not going to spoil the game for you. If you know, you know. And then Saitan, another really important character, kind of like in and out of the Cyberpunk lore, not specifically just to 2077. And then you have your Johnny Silverhat and your Alt Cunningham. These are your opportunity cards. These are not necessarily character cards. They are in conjunction to the characters. But again, I will have to read more of the rules if that is not the case. All right. So those are that. And then is there anybody here that I need to really actually show? No, just obviously there's the Alt Johnny Silverhand and then the Alt Cunningham. So there's like different versions of Johnny Silverhand and Alt Cunningham. And of course Johnny's the star, so hell yeah, he gets to be in all of them. So we get to put these side ones away. And I believe these are all just like modular components, it's what it says. So these are kind of like, these are not independent to the game, they work in conjunction with the game. The next one is the motor pod. Now this one is vehicles in the game. How they're actually working in the game, that is something I still have to figure out. This is only an unboxing, but if you guys want me to actually play the game on video, you know, just like let me know. So this is the motor pod. And this is in addition, obviously an extension, so you add this to the side. So this will be added to the side of the actual game that we weren't able to show, but I'll show that later. Again, this is also a modular setup, so you'll have to add this, incorporate it with the main game. It's not a standalone. And then obviously you have other aspects of it. So you can go racing actually in this game. So we're gonna quickly open this to see what kind of opportunities there are in this game. As you can see, there are tons of miniatures in here already with the cars you can play. We're gonna just open this. Oh gosh, it smells so good. It's like the new game smell. I love it. All right, so these are your cars. Yeah, so you can see these are some of the vehicles that are in here. If you're familiar with some of these, you can actually get them in the game. As you can see, these are some of this is the tank. This is the infamous tank. If you are a Panam lover, I think this is the infamous tank anyways. We got it. So we added, so in this pack, so in most of the expansions, you get new edge runners. In this case, it is Claire. I was close. You get Claire, she's here, so you can add her as one of the edge runners that you work with or can actually play as. So she has her own set of rules and her own set of skills, so that's really, really cool. And then you have more opportunities here which can be incorporated into the game, obviously. So these are where all your vehicles are. So in the original, you can only get one vehicle, that's because all the vehicles are in here. So this is where all the vehicles come in and you can buy them in the game. Militech Minotaur, that's that one that's right there, and the Arrow Knight. Now these are really, really cool. Some of them you can get in the game, some of them I think you have to like purchase. But that's really cool. And then there's some additional challenges that come with it as well. These challenges obviously are mostly races, it looks like. So these are just races that you have to do in the same sense that when you're in the game, Claire will have you join races in the game. You join Claire in the TTRPG to do races. And then you have your knowledge tree here and then your car mods that are associated with your vehicle. That's really cool because then you can have different mods for different vehicles, which is kind of cool. All right. And then the next one is the Gang Wars. Now these are the other family members that are incorporated to this. So outside of just the Tiger Claws, outside of obviously 6th Street, you have other families and gangs that also appear in Cyberpunk 2077. You have to buy this expansion if you want to incorporate them into your gameplay. Now, does that suck? It's a lot of work probably to do a lot of this, so I understand why it needs to be separate. But again, it has its own set of tokens, obviously because it's a different family, it's a different gang. And then you have your cards for them. So as you can see, these are the animals and the mocks. I love the moxes. I love the moxes. And then these are the module components that are associated with it, as well as the cards for it as well. And it just has the cards for each of the different gang members. And then they have their own pieces as well. As you remember, they each have a solo, a netrunner, and a techie associated. So you can pick these different classes, obviously. Cool. And these are just all the pieces for it. I won't go into too much depth just because there's no one particularly, I don't think there's anyone in these that are particularly standing out. Most of them are just kind of like generic models, so we won't open this, we'll just kind of move on from this. But yeah, and then our last expansion is the Families and Outcast expansion. I think that's funny that they have a paper when it's the same thing as the back. Okay, so let us open this. Yes. So this is the Badlands. Obviously, same token again, right? But this time it's completely different families, so you can play as any of these families. These are the Wraiths and obviously the Aldecados. This is obviously where Panam comes into play because Panam is part of the Aldecados. And that's why I had to get this one because it doesn't make sense to have Aldecados and not have Panam. So you get to play those two. And then they have obviously their own opportunities, but including the Badlands also includes this little slip here. And we're gonna just open this really quickly because this is kind of ingenious. So you open this up like this, and then you add this to your board, and this adds obviously the Badlands into it, because obviously you do go to the Badlands in Cyberpunk 2077, and there are opportunities for you to continue having storyline dedicated to that. So here are the module components that consist of story from the Badlands and incorporates it into your game. And then if we go into here, these are just kind of the cards for them. This is a mixture between either weapons or just like other aspects of the game. So you have your Aldecados, obviously your Wraiths, and then these are just kind of like district maps. This is kind of cool. This is single player mode, Family and Outcast, which is really interesting. So you can play this alone. So this particular aspect can be played alone, and it does add a different story that you couldn't play with like 1 to 4 people. And then here are your opportunity cards, obviously, and then you have your combat, which are different weapons. And this is obviously a cyber deck, short circuit, if you're very familiar with the game, that could be found there, and as well as like cybernetic parts as well, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure if any of this is going to be exclusive to just the Kickstarter, so it really depends, because I have not obviously heard information about the soon-to-be released version of it to retail stores, but this is pretty much it. There isn't anybody particularly famous or like standing out in here. I think they're just kind of generic ones. They're not really anybody that in the Aldecados that we particularly know. I'm not gonna say their names because I don't wanna spoil anything, but these are just like basic units that comprise the Aldecados, and they have their own figurines. And then we have our little Panam. Now again, this was separate. I bought it. I don't know how people feel indifferent about this, and there's nothing wrong with that. This does feel like pay to play kind of thing, but I had to pay for her. Panam, our lovely, wonderful, amazing, brilliant Panam. She is separate from the other characters that are love interests that you can have. She comes with a figurine and she comes with her own card. I'm not going to go into my opinion about this. I do feel kind of a little bit weary that like she was something separate from the actual game, because River's in the game, Judy's in the game, Carrie's in the game, but she's the only one that was excluded that you had to get separately. But with that being said, I've got her. I love her. And she is, again, another character you can play as that has her own skill set and stuff like that. She has her big gun, I guess you can say. She always looks badass anyways, but she's gorgeous. Would I color her? I don't think so. I don't have the talent for that, unfortunately. And then last but certainly not least, I'm gonna open this huge ass thing. I probably should have done this first. All right, so this is the board. It is really big. I might need to get a bigger table actually, now that I think about this. But this is kind of crazy. What the hell? Look at that. Oh my gosh. It literally takes the whole freaking thing. This is the board. Can I scoot this over without knocking? Yeah, I'm fine. Cool. So this is the board. This is the entire board. This is crazy. Right? You can play this game by yourself, or you can play this game with up to 4 people. This is Night City. So this is really cool that they were able to kind of like take this entire game and they put it into a TTRPG. But this is Night City right here. Netrunner activations here, your tech activations here, and this is supposed to help you play the game. These are the story cards. So again, like I was saying before, this is where, depending on what kind of story you start with, whether it's the heist or any of the acts or the tutorial, they will be placed here, and then you would kind of like walk through the story through that. Obviously your combat cards are here, so depending on what weapons you take or you pick. And then obviously you traverse through Night City, exploring as your favorite edge runner or your favorite character, and just do quests along the way. So obviously this side is for 4 players, so if 4 players want to play, but then the other side is for 1 to 3 players. So this is different from the other side in the sense that if you wanted to play this game by yourself, you just use the other side and you can play by yourself. What's the difference? Honestly, there's a couple little difference. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with the Netrunner activations, the street cred here, as you can see, because it's all about street cred. In Night City, it's all about street cred. And obviously different kind of directions here as well as you can see like different resources in each part of the city. Now, I'm not actually going to play this on video, but I definitely wanted to show you guys this. There are tons of opinions about, you know, why is this a TTRPG, you know, this is a cash cow, whatever. This was just a video that I really wanted to make out of love. I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk. I'm a big fan of Mike Pondsmith's universe, so for me this was something that I wanted to jump the bandwagon on. This is in no way, shape or form a sponsored video. This is just me in love with this universe, in love with Mike Pondsmith, and really wanting to do this unboxing because I've been waiting 3 years for it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions about this particular Cyberpunk 2077 tabletop role-playing game, let me know in the comments. And if you've actually got the box yourself, let me know what you think. And if you played it, let me know if you enjoy it or not. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.